Hey guys, how's it going? It's Douglas here from Drown Boy Cosplay, and today we're going to be talking. And today we're going to be doing a video with AJ here at the House of Masks. You may have seen a video similar to this over at AJ's channel where he went and interviewed Mr. Rudy over at Crimson Ghost Mask Room. So I'm going to do basically the similar thing. It's a pretty interesting concept and I think a lot of people like it. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. This is just 5 of my favorite masks of his in no particular order, and I'll let AJ tell you about them as he holds them.
First up, we've got my signature mask, and I didn't even make you pick these. You picked these on your own.
Yep.
He couldn't decide which one he liked better, so we're just going to show them both off, but I think he likes this one more.
I do.
This is the one that I wear the most often, but this was actually like the proto. This is what the entire idea for any of the paint jobs was based on, and it was just kind of like an Evil Dead, like sickly zombie type thing. I don't know. It's just really rotten and gross, kind of like a zombie. But Connor painted one like this just for fun, kind of based off of his Wraith mask, and I just really took to it. So most of like the promo shots and stuff, or like any conventions or concerts you'll see, I'm wearing this one. This one definitely has the most hours in it. And yeah, this is like probably my second favorite, but my most worn is my skin tone one, which my dad owns. And then I had a second skin tone one made once that one started falling apart, and I ended up wearing it to the interview with Corey Taylor, and he wore it, so I knew that I could never wear it again after that. Yeah. So this is the other one. I knew that after Corey wore it that I definitely couldn't wear it anymore, so I just went ahead and retired it and put it in a box and stopped using a skin tone one. So this is the main one. Basically, when the House of Masks started getting popular, I had always wanted my own look, and I knew that it wasn't just a House of Masks like collection thing. I was actually like an internet persona finally, so when I would go to concerts and people would stop me and want to take photos with me and stuff, I felt really dumb just standing there being a guy. So I had to come up with something for conventions and stuff, and we just took a bunch of influences from my favorite stuff, whether it be like Clown's Tattoo the Earth mask, or Mudvayne's face paint, or Ghost's seamlessness with Papa's masks, stuff like that. And this is what me and Connor came up with, and Connor is a fucking genius. That's hands down probably the most talented dude in the industry, in my opinion, and he's super fucking young. So, yeah, shout out to Connor. But yeah, that's the story on these guys. Trash.
So out of all the masks, these really stand out to me just because the sculpt in general is just so fucking cool, very unique. It's kind of an amalgam of just all the best things to look for in a mask, and I think a lot of people would agree that it's one of the most unique and coolest looking masks that's come out in fucking forever. And out of the two, I prefer the Evil Dead one just because overall the collar on it, and then also if you look at the marks on the head, it really reminds me of like the Warlock T, if you will. So just everything about that mask to me just fucking is perfect. Throw it on the ground, fucking break it.
Trash. Alright, so the next one he picked was this white Distortions Unlimited mini vampire mask. As some of you guys may know, this is the one that was stage used by the bass player in Mushroomhead. I recently got this, maybe a month or two ago, and obviously I only got it because I really love Mushroomhead. Like, the mask itself is really stupid, it looks awful, and I just really like how talented Mushroomhead is, and how morally sound they are, and just the stuff they do for their fans. No, I'm just kidding. I actually really dislike Mushroomhead. Their music's terrible. I think that a lot of the guys in the band are pieces of shit, even though all the guys in the band have been replaced except for Skinny. Distortions Unlimited is hands down my favorite mass-produced mask company of all time. A lot of their stuff, especially these quickly done, like probably hour-long Ed sculpts, scream vintage Halloween to me. So when I first started seeing these like in the Mushroomhead groups and stuff, I knew that I really, really wanted one. It quickly became one of my grails, and now I actually have 2 of them. I have this white one, which is one of 3 known white copies, and also this is stage used. And then I also have a gray one, which is the only gray copy that anybody that I know has ever seen. So as far as I know, that's the only gray copy in existence. So it feels pretty good to have 2 out of like the 5 of these that exist, or 4 or whatever. And yeah, the sculpt speaks for itself. It's just classic cheesy old Halloween Nosferatu type stuff. So it reminds me of the 90s, and that's why I like it so much.
I can agree with you on most points on that. I love it simply just because of how vintage looking it is. It really reminds me of a lot of like early 90s Halloween costumes and Halloween masks. And again, just the sculpt on it is just so weird. Out of all the vampire sculpts, it's definitely one of the coolest. Those big, just weird looking teeth, those big old DSLs with a purple lipstick on.
You're not supposed to tell them what I use this for.
Oh, sorry.
I collect. I'm a collector.
Collector, that's what it is. And of course, just the skin tone on this one looks a lot better to me than the gray copy does. The gray one's kind of cool, but it's a little bit dull. And this one just has like a lot of color to it. It's kind of the same reason that I prefer the more skin tone, zombie flesh looking copy of his mask. I just really, really love the collar on it.
Alright, so the next mask that Doug picked was this vintage West German clown. This is known as the deluxe copy in the hobby, and there's a few reasons for that. Aside from the fact that the paint looks super different from most of these, it's extremely vibrant, and the collarway, like the choices are almost different than most vintage clowns. So the vibrancy mixed with the fact that the collars are slightly different is kind of cool. And another reason is that it's super thick. This is almost as thick as like a new gen Rudell, which is really, really weird because most vintage clowns will melt in your hand, like as you're holding them, they'll just fall apart. Not literally fall apart, but you can squish them into a ball in your hand. That's how soft and squishy the vinyl is. And this one's actually pretty thick. For those of you who don't know, vintage West German clown is like the grail in Slipknot mask collecting because this is the mask that started it all. Sean Crayon wore this back in the day during a practice and never took it off, and then that was the idea behind the masks, and they're just pretty rare, extremely valuable. I think I underpaid for this. I think I paid like 400 bucks for this one and was extremely surprised when I got it in person because of how different it looks compared to other copies.
So you paid 400 for it, right?
Yeah. What's this, 400?
Yeah.
This is my third or fourth copy. Now, this was my third one. I sold my fourth one, and I also sold my second one. So I have this copy, and then my first copy, which is super special. So I'll probably never part with these ones, and it just feels good to have more than one anyways.
Out of the two that he has, I had to choose this one just because of the vibrancy on it, and just looking at the fine little details in it, it's so much weirder than the other one. To me, the other copy he has looks more like a clown mask, just from Slipknot, and I don't even really care about the fact that it was used in Slipknot. I just really, really love the crazy eye cuts on this. It looks a little bit wider, and he's just like wide-eyed and deranged. And then, of course, also on the teeth on this one, it looks like it has a little bit of pink on there. Don't know if you guys will be able to see that. But it's like instead of just being straight white, it's like they were very sloppy with this paint job, and it just looks amazing.
Hey! Alright, so the next mask that Doug picked was my Malone Kirk conversion done by Nick Malpagano. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so, Malpagano.
Yeah. Nick did this for Jimmy, and then Jimmy got a hold of me to see if I was interested in buying it, gave me a really good deal, and I'd never owned any of Nick's masks before anyway, so I didn't really know what to expect. And I was pleasantly surprised. Looks super, super authentic. Like, a lot of artists struggle to capture like the authentic, gritty look that I would assume that a Myers mask would have and what it looks like on screen or in old photos. And this one definitely has that nice. It's not even a subtle weathering. It's like I said, weathering. It's not a subtle weathering, but it's not a subtle weathering. It's more of like a gritty, gross. Like this just got thrown on a countertop and now there's a black streak on it type thing. This mask was based off of a stunt mask that Bill Malone had made for the first film, so it was never used on camera, but there are photos of it like on set, just kind of hanging out, and as you can see, the most notable difference is the fact that this one still has eyebrows, which gives it a super weird look compared to what we're used to seeing, and I don't know, I just really, really like it. I like the sculpt, I like Nick's finish on it, and I like the fact that it was never used in any of the movies, so people are kind of confused by it.
Why it exists.
Yeah, like why? Like what is that? It's not an H4. It's not an H1.
To me, this mask is just really, really awesome. Seeing it in pictures, I really liked it, and of course in the video. But after seeing it in person, this thing is just absolutely, like, it blows me away. Just the weird fact that it has the huge sideburns and of course the eyebrows still just adds to this like whole other layer of creepiness in my opinion. And of course the weathering is just on point with it. Personally, I would have preferred it if this is what he would have looked like in H4. Because the H4 mask, I've kind of been on the fence about it recently. I've grown to love it, but this thing is just super creepy.
Alright, so the next mask that Douglas picked is this 83 Caesar that was done with a custom paint job by Mike Covert and sent in on a Mailbox Monday back in probably 2016, I would guess. It's just a weird mesh of a lot of Joey's different styled masks from the self-titled and Iowa era, and he used like custom collars, and it all looks like, to me, highlighter, like Sharpie and highlighter, because there's like pink and yellow or green or whatever. And Just kind of looks like he did whatever he wanted. I can definitely see like the stitch mouth in there and the reading, and then with the highlight or whatever, you've got one of like the Iowa worm masks and stuff like that. So definitely just a cool custom piece that he sent in, and it's on an 83, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and I just really like it for a lot of the same reasons. The color on it is just absolutely insane, and seeing it in person is just very, very cool. As dirty and beat up as it is, it looks almost like it could have been like a backup mask or stage used. So that's really freaking cool about it. And yeah, it doesn't even have straps, does it?
Nope.
No, it was just a super cool piece, but super dirty, and I think out of all the custom pieces people have done for Joey masks, it's easily my favorite.
Okay, so the next one on Doug's list is my late self-titled Craig helmet. This would be like a Dynamo Craig or something around those lines. And I've got to say, this is definitely one of the coolest pieces that I own. I do have another self-titled Craig, but it's like the Ozfest early version. But something about this version is much, much cooler to me. Maybe because that's the one that I always saw when I was growing up or whatever. But all the pieces to this mask are extremely rare. So you've got like the black MBU with a nose cup. That's super rare. And this one actually doesn't even have a nose cup in it. These nails are imported from Germany. I can't find them in the States anywhere, but these are the same exact nails, which I think maybe 3 other people have on theirs. And then the youth helmet itself, this is not a recast, this is an original. Those are super rare. And definitely one of the weirdest Slipknot masks probably ever, because it's just some random shit thrown together that ended up having a look of its own. And I remember, like, even now walking into a room and seeing that I own this, I'm like, hell yeah, this thing's sweet. So yeah, Craig masks are definitely special.
I think I like it for pretty much the same exact reasons. I really like the detail of like where the paint's chipped off in places and the rusted look on the nails and just the crack and of course the MBU and everything else. To me, it is probably the most unique self-titled in my opinion, and out of all the masks in the collection, it's probably what draws my eye the most because it is just the most random shit thrown together and has just a really, really crazy look. And combined with Craig acting the way he does, it just really, really works.
Alright, so the last one that Doug picked is my 2006 to like modern Ballsack. His Beyond Hell is when he changed from like the rounded look to the sharp pointy look in the front. And I think the only thing that has really changed since then, except for on the last album because it's a completely new sculpt, is the horns. These ones are flat black like the ones that were for like Lust in Space and stuff. But Beyond Hell, he had like painted horns and stuff. Not my favorite. I definitely like his War Party era a lot better, and anything before that, like this Toilet Earth and stuff. I like the rounded look. But I got this for free. Unfortunately, it was from fucking Crypt Creations, and it's definitely not his sculpt. From what I remember, he had someone sculpt this for him so that he could start doing the casts, and then he never gave the guy credit. And I think this is like one of the only copies out there. Maybe there's another one out there or whatever, but it showed up broken. I had to fix a bunch of stuff on it. And yeah, but Ballsack, definitely my favorite look from any Gwar character at all.
This one, of course, just because it is Ballsack, and, you know, if you ain't Ballsack, you ain't shit. Ballsack fucking rocks. And, of course, this fucking look to me was one of the most, like, menacing. I really do like the new look as well. I think it's pretty cool. But I just really, really like the big fucking metal jaws of death look that this one had. And, of course, those wicked horns. Yeah.